Looking at the global map of the 5th century, Europe was mired in the Dark Ages, and Rome had fallen. But in the Rajgir hills of Bihar, India, a massive computational node was coming online. This was Nalanda. It operated as the largest centralized information repository and epistemological engine of the ancient world. To understand the scale of this operation, look at the baseline metrics. The complex covered 10 square kilometers, housing 10,000 scholars supported by 2,000 faculty members. That yields an optimized student-to-teacher ratio of 1:5. Nalanda's intellectual output stemmed from rigorous optimization. The complex functioned as a 3-step pipeline. First, an intake filter screens raw data. Second, a dogma-free processing core generates insights. Third, an active redundancy system prevents data loss. Reframing Nalanda from a monastery to an active knowledge engine changes how we understand the cultivation and maintenance of ancient scientific methodology. The intake filter operated at the university's main gate, serving as a strict admissions firewall for the entire network. Data streams hit this firewall from across the known world. Scholars traveled thousands of miles on foot from Persia, Korea, and the banks of China's Yellow River to access the network. At the gate, they met the Dwarpal. This gatekeeper was a senior dialectician, acting as the system's primary filter. To gain entry, applicants had to survive a brutal oral defense. He tested them on Vedic philosophy and rigorous logic and the early sciences, pushing even established scholars to their limits. This statue depicts the Chinese traveler and scholar Xuanzang, who documented his time at Nalanda. His records reveal the extreme attrition rate of this initial filter, with 70 to 80% of all applicants failing the oral defense. For the 20% who survived the firewall, the operational environment inside the campus prioritized intellectual output over social or class hierarchies. Whether you were the son of a king or a poor farmer, status was driven by academic rigor. The rejection rate served a precise function as a quality control mechanism, ensuring that only the most highly optimized intellectual processors entered the campus network. Once inside, those processors moved into the second stage of the pipeline, the processing core, where the internal curriculum dictated how their intellect would be utilized. The core pedagogical rule required students to pair theological texts with Hetu Vidya, the science of logic, and Sankhya, an atheistic philosophy. This requirement to interrogate all data led directly to specialized advancements in mathematics, metallurgy, and medicine. From the mathematics branch, scholars like Aryabhata calculated the concept of zero, investigated the mechanics of gravity, and proposed heliocentric models of the solar system. From the metallurgy branch, scientists like Nagarjuna developed advanced chemical formulas that allowed India to forge non-corrosive iron. In the late 12th century, the invading warlord Bakhtiyar Khilji fell terminally ill. When his own royal physicians failed, he summoned Nalanda's head of Ayurveda, Raul Sribhadra. Sribhadra faced a complex operational hurdle. The warlord was dying, but his prejudice made him refuse to ingest any oral medication provided by a rival scholar. Sribhadra engineered a biomedical workaround, formulating a colorless, tasteless transdermal compound and applying it to the corners of the pages of the patient's Quran. The delivery mechanism exploited a behavioral habit. Every time the warlord licked his fingers to turn a page, he unwittingly ingested the cure. Sribhadра's strategy suggests an internal culture where practitioners combined behavioral psychology with advanced delivery mechanisms centuries ahead of their time. With so much empirical data being generated, the system required the final stage of the pipeline, data storage. This is the schematic of Ratnodadi, a 9-story building within the Dharmodanja library complex. The scale of this repository was immense, holding upwards of 900,000 distinct manuscripts. As we see in this image of ancient palm leaves, the data center faced a specific challenge in the medium itself. These fibrous textures and string bindings were highly susceptible to natural decay. To counter this, Nalanda utilized a biochemical preservation layer. Manuscripts were stored inside sealed sandalwood boxes, which functioned as natural insect repellents and moisture regulators. Beyond the boxes, they maintained an active human redundancy protocol. An entire network of dedicated scribes duplicated texts the moment the organic material began to degrade. This continuous loop of manual duplication functioned like a modern server backup, insulating Nalanda's empirical data against single-point failure and the erosion of time. In 1193, Bakhtiyar Khilji, the same warlord treated by Nalanda's physicians, launched a military assault on the unfortified campus. Khilji targeted the library. The resulting fire was a deliberate, massive server wipe designed to permanently delete the primary dataset of an entire civilization. The density of the fire was terrifying. Fueled by hundreds of thousands of organic manuscripts and volatile oils, the complex burned continuously for 3 months. While the physical infrastructure suffered total failure, a fraction of data survived through emergency human redundancy. Scholars fled the burning campus, hiding individual texts within their robes. These scholars acted as escaping data packets. As shown by this high-altitude monastery, they routed themselves into decentralized mountainous nodes of Tibet and Nepal to hide the remaining texts. The decentralized backup instinct of these fleeing scholars successfully preserved vital fragments of the core dataset for future generations. The ideas contained in those surviving fragments proved highly durable. The core concepts generated at Nalanda outlived the ash and the ruins. Aryabhata's mathematical concept of zero traveled outward, eventually reaching Europe. That single piece of ancient data formed the foundational binary logic that powers all modern computing. Recognizing the scale of what was lost, scientist Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam proposed a reboot of the Nalanda system in 2006 as a civilizational responsibility. By 2014, that reboot came online. A new net-zero technology campus was constructed near the original site, designed to emulate the ancient ethos of sustainable knowledge generation. These red brick ruins represent the physical remnants of the complex, while the logic of the original curriculum, the prioritization of evidence over dogma, persists. The legacy of Nalanda proves that a robust knowledge ecosystem requires both rigorous logical processing and dedicated preservation architecture. It is a lesson that remains the ultimate challenge for digital data longevity today.